Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, this channel is about me and my adventures in the NorCal 86 Drive Challenge in my Subaru BRZ. My name's Scott, and I'd like to say welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, I know it's been a while since I've done an upload, and as you can tell by the title of the video, things have been pretty crazy around here. Done some pretty drastic changes in several aspects of my life, including an entire career change. For anybody who doesn't know and is new here, I was a chef for 15 years, and after a lot of thinking and contemplating about what I really wanted to do with the rest of my life, I just turned 30, so kind of a little bit of a quarter-life crisis, which, well, I guess a quarter would mean that I lived to 120, but a little bit of a life crisis, and kind of realized that all along I wanted to be working on cars. It's been a hobby of mine, and it was almost my career before I went to culinary school. So it took a lot of contemplating and talks with my wife and stuff like that before I really realized that cars were the thing that I wanted to do with my life, and I chose to go down the path of acquiring an apprenticeship at an Autobody shop, a collision repair shop here in Northern California, and I dove headfirst into a new career, starting completely at the bottom. And I haven't looked back, and I'm absolutely in love with what I'm doing now, and have found so much more time and energy to take on new projects, and to really focus on spending time with my wife, and just being a good husband and doing all the things that I should have been doing but didn't really have time to as a chef. As some of you know, it's a pretty intense career, and a lot of long hours and late nights, and not really a lot of time for things outside of work, really. It was me requesting weekends off to go to the track and stuff like that, and it just became too much for me after doing the struggle for so long. Not really having time to have hobbies and all that. So I decided that it was time to make a change, and Autobody was that opportunity. I have weekends off and nights off, and I get to see my wife and also do the things that I love to do on the weekends. Going on drives when there's not a track day, and working on the car, and just really enjoying life. So yeah, as far as other changes, since the last time you guys saw a video from me, that was round 1 at Thunderhill East. We had round 2 at Thunderhill West, which is a lot tighter, more technical track, and really well suited to the BRZ and FRS chassis. It's kind of the NorCal version of Streets of Willow. Very tight, very technical, short lap time, so you get a lot of time on track. But yeah, so that went pretty well. I cut some time off throughout the day, and in the third session, going into lunch, I had a pretty bad spin that scared me. Some of you guys have seen the video of that if you follow my Instagram or Facebook or any of that, or you're part of the 86 Drive Challenge. You were probably there and saw. But yeah, I had a pretty big off, and it freaked me out, so I cut the day short, trying to do the smart thing, because I knew I wasn't going to go out and go any faster that day. So after that round, a bunch of us got together and decided that we wanted to fly Mike Kang up from Southern California to do some instruction for us. and really kind of help, hone some of the more advanced guys, have them focus on some different techniques and stuff like that, trail braking. And then for the beginner / intermediate guys, me and a couple other guys who compete in both NorCal and SoCal 86 Drive Challenge and 86 Cup events, really kind of focusing on the basics, braking and turning and keeping your eyes up and being aware of what's happening on track. Mike is an instructor in his day job, and gets to drive some really crazy exotic stuff, as well as 1,000 horsepower builds and Nissan GTRs and crazy stuff. But he's also an 86 Cup competitor in his own 2017 Subaru BRZ, and has set some pretty wicked lap times at Buttonwillow and holds a couple records in the challenge, as well as competing in Global Time Attack and different other organizations. He's just an absolutely awesome instructor and driver. I know a lot of people say a good driver doesn't necessarily make a good instructor. I can attest that Mike is both a great driver and an incredible instructor. So he went out with me. I had him for the entire day of 5 sessions, and he just really focused on, first seeing how I drive, and then he wanted me to really focus on 2 things throughout the day, and that was keeping my eyes up and looking into the next corner, as well as making sure that I was really online and that I was really driving safely and reacting well to oversteer, understeer situations, making sure that I was braking, shifting, all those things in the appropriate places. And throughout the day, I noticed about an 8-second change in my lap times, and I set my new personal best at Thunderhill West. Previously, I believe it was a 1:37, and I got down to a 1:34. But I kind of start out slow every time, and I build up. I actually went personal best in the last session at round 3, and for me, the biggest thing was having somebody in the car to really enforce good habits. When you do something well, just in your ear. We had a communication system in our helmets, where he was just saying yes. Simple things when I reacted well to oversteer situations and caught the car, or when I really hit the apex well, or when I was accelerating at the right time. It was really nice to have somebody in the car enforcing good habits and giving positive reinforcement, and at the same time being there when you do make a mistake, in your ear saying, hey, did you feel that? Do you know what you did? Do you know why that happened? Sorry, the camera cut out, but as I was saying, the having somebody there to say, hey, do you know why that happened? And then afterward being able to do download sessions with Mike, saying, like going over the whole session, going over better techniques for when you're in traffic, and when you are stuck behind somebody, maybe really focusing on the line that lap and not trying to go so fast, and getting frustrated. There were a couple times where I got stuck behind a guy and he wouldn't let me pass, and I was getting really frustrated, and pointing at the flaggers and stuff, saying, hey, let me pass. And we talked about it afterward, and luckily the guy was cool, and I went up to him, I said, hey man, be respectful, whatever. But it was nice to have Mike there to understand why you're frustrated, and then see those mistakes, and also say, hey, don't get frustrated in those situations. In those situations, which they're going to happen, just really focus on your line those 4 or 5 laps that you might be stuck behind somebody that won't let you pass. And I would highly recommend somebody hiring a private instructor, and especially if you're new. This is my 3rd track day. Especially if you're new, like, get somebody in the car with you if you're comfortable, and if you have somebody who is comfortable, but be mature. Don't get somebody in the car and say, oh, watch this, like, I got so-and-so in the car, I need to impress them. And I told Mike I didn't go in with that mentality, so, you have another life in your car, and somebody that you're also responsible for outside of yourself. If you put them in a dangerous situation, then that's on you. You need to be responsible when you have somebody else in your car. Don't just throw your buddy in the car who's done 7 track days and, think that he's, gonna show you the ropes. Like, get an experienced instructor. Get somebody who has done this, who does this all the time, who's done thousands of laps in cars. Get and pay for it. Like, it is expensive, but it's totally worth it. You'll become a safer driver, and through that safety, you'll become faster, because now you know how to go around the track in a safe manner, and you can build up speed over time. Like I said, I saw 8 seconds in improvement in a single day, and he really got me to where I'm starting to be closer to the top of the group. I'm still running at the bottom, but the gaps are a lot smaller. In my first track day, I was 11 seconds off pace. In my second, I was about 7 seconds off pace, and now I'm about 3 to 4 seconds off pace. And this is in 3 track days, and most of those gains were with an instructor. Those were because of an instructor. By the end of the day, I felt very, very confident in the car. I felt very, very confident in my abilities as a driver, and but also knowing I still have a lot to learn. But it's super beneficial to find a good instructor, and I would personally recommend Mike. If you can get a group of your friends together for a track day and everybody wants to pitch in, Mike's super game to do it, and reasonably priced. We all split the cost. It ended up costing me about $385 for 5 sessions, especially if you're an 86 drive guy, like, if you're a NorCal 86 Drive Challenge, or the East Coast or Midwest or any of that, like, I would highly recommend flying Mike out, having him sit with a bunch of your guys, get 5, 6, 7 guys together, and it's easier if you have some advanced guys, some beginners, some intermediate, because then he's not trying to hop in cars during the same sessions. But yeah, I would highly recommend it. Make sure that you get an instructor who knows the chassis, who knows, the camera difficulties. But yeah, like I was saying, get somebody who knows the dynamics of the car, and who really, understands what your goals are as a driver. Yeah, we all want to be professional race car drivers, but, how many of us are that special of a driver that you can become a professional driver? And my goals are to go out, have fun, compete, but mostly just learn and have fun. It's an expensive hobby, but it's one of those things that, if you're addicted to it, you'll find a way to make it happen. And at least do it safely, and, get somebody who's going to make you better. So yeah, as far as that whole thing goes, just have realistic expectations, but you know, go in with an open mind. You know, if you think you're fast, like if you have it in your head that, oh, I'm this whatever and I don't need anybody to, you know, tell me how to be better, like, you're wrong. There's professional guys who still get instruction. You know, there's guys who run these track day groups, you know, Speed SF, stuff like that, and they still get professional instruction. You know, but they'll compete in NASA, TT, and stuff like that, and, you know, some wheel-to-wheel stuff, Spec Miata, whatever. Like, instruction is an incredible thing, and when you realize that and you go in and you know, just have an open mind and have somebody there to, again, reinforce good habits and correct bad habits. I mean, I was having problems with where I downshifted, and when I was trying to upshift into fourth, it's a common problem with the IRP shifters. You know, when you pistol grip it and you try to shift into fourth, your natural tendency is to pull it towards you. You know, but having Mike there to say, hey, try using an open hand, stuff like that, you know, and I noticed I didn't have any more problems with that misshift anymore. I mean, that misshift caused 2 spins in the day. And he's seen it happen to multiple drivers, you know, so having somebody there with that experience to correct that mistake, you know, and like I said, reinforce good and correct bad habits. So I'll cut to the personal best lap here, and hope you guys enjoy. Covered the career change as well as the driving change. So now on to something pretty exciting. So because I'm commuting back and forth about 30 minutes every day, we decided that we needed another car, and my wife and I are both pretty big car enthusiasts, as you'll learn as we go on in this channel. And when it came down to it, we really both wanted an ND Miata, but I'm 6'5", and as everybody knows, Miatas are very, very small. And I did fit kind of in the driver's seat, but my shins were about 1/4 of an inch from the dash, and we decided that in an impact I would probably break both legs, and that wasn't really something we wanted. So, we were looking around and kind of deciding, we wanted a fun sports car. Again, we don't have any kids, we have no plans for kids. The BRZ is actually pretty practical as far as, the size of the car and being able to put a lot of stuff in it and all that. So we decided that we could be a little bit less practical with our next car, and as we're new to California and it's absolutely beautiful here, we decided that we really wanted a convertible. So as we began looking around in the market to see kind of what was out there in the convertible realm that we both really liked, we realized that the options were super limited. But you know, especially in the Asian category. But the one thing that I kept going back to was the Honda S2000. I came from Hondas, you know, before the BRZ and all that, and always kind of wanted one. And you know, it took some convincing, you know, trying to get my wife to get behind it. She didn't really love the styling of it in pictures, so you know, we went and looked at a few, and you know, it was hard to find the right color, the right year, the right mileage, the right maintenance, you know, whatever, you know, all these things that we were looking for. And you know, ultimately, after driving several and you know, getting an up close look at them, she really got behind the idea, and we began searching pretty hardcore for a couple months, trying to find the right one. She didn't want a red car, a yellow car. She didn't want anything super flashy, and we both kind of like subtle. You know, we didn't want anything that had been heavily modded. Finding one without a salvage title in California is brutal. I mean, they're all salvaged. You know, we wanted just something really clean, really well maintained, great service records. You know, but we also had a budget. We couldn't spend $27,000. We couldn't spend 30 grand on a CR, which really, I really wanted a CR. You know, but one thing we also really wanted was a hardtop. And as you guys can probably tell by the hardtop sitting here, we found one, and it's pretty pristine. So yeah, let's take a look at it. Alright, so here's the hardtop. The car is a 2001 Silverstone Metallic with full black interior. It has, well, when we purchased it, it had 117,000 miles on it. 2 owners before us, and the second owner actually did kind of the same, a lot of the same modifications that I was planning anyway. But here she is. We chose an AP1 after driving a few AP2s and a couple AP1s. We just felt like the car had a lot more character than the AP2, with, you know, a little bit buzzier and, you know, the higher red line and all that, which, you know, 500 RPM isn't a big deal, but the car just felt more as it was intended. I mean, obviously the AP2 is a better car in basically every way, but we just both really loved the AP1 after driving it. So yeah, this specific one has Olin's DFV coilovers. So the car is factory hardtop equipped, which everybody knows is incredibly difficult to find. It also came with an extra set of Stance GR Plus coilovers. I guess the second or the first owner had those put on it, and he just kind of daily drove on them. But you know, the second owner decided when he was going to track it that he wanted to upgrade those to the Olin's DFVs. The car's also got the K&N FIPK, which is typical intake. Sounds amazing, but you know, as far as performance goes, probably not much gain, but that's fine. And then it's also got an aftermarket ACT clutch. It's got adjustable ball joints, all the typical things for proper alignment. The alignment was done by a really good S2000 guy here in Northern California. He actually works on the crew for Andre Hartanto, who drives an awesome S2000 for Prima Racing. and also does a lot with Speed SF and is at all the events that we do the 86 Drive Challenge at. So I knew the car was built well outside of the factory components, so you know, just having quality coilovers and quality brakes and stuff like that just made me feel really good about the car. We got a pretty good deal on it as far, you know, considering how much other ones in the market were going for with less quality products. But yeah, so the plan for this is we do have a build planned for it, but the build is going to mostly be you know, us collecting parts that we've always kind of lusted after for the S2000. You know, I want mag blue wheels and, you know, Jay's Racing exhaust, stuff like that. But for the meantime, we're just going to leave it as is and drive it and enjoy it, you know, top down weather and all that, and all that here in beautiful wine country. I mean, we get the opportunity to have some really amazing drives out here. But yeah, so it's the S2000 and we're welcoming it to the family. We've already put about 1,000 miles on it just because we love driving it so much. But yeah, so that's it for that. As far as the BRZ goes, I'll show you guys, we still love that too. So yeah, BRZ is still over there. As far as the BRZ build goes, actually had a bit of a change of plans for that. It is going to remain naturally aspirated, but due to some issues with these FA20 motors just not being built, I mean, they just don't respond to being built the way the other motors do. I've decided that we'll probably just upgrade to a 2015, 2016 motor, you know, when it's time, and, you know, just continue with the ACE header and all that, and we'll develop the chassis in a different way. So my plan is to completely strip the car down, hopefully next year, after this season's over. Strip the car down, get it caged, and then do as much lightening as possible. So carbon hood, carbon roof, carbon doors, trunk, all that. You know, keeping everything OE, not doing wide body or anything like that, but you know, just really get the weight out of the car, work on the aero, and then yeah, just really focus on lightweight, balanced chassis. You know, nothing crazy horsepower wise. You know, hopefully we'll upgrade to the A350 header here, rather than the Anaconda, which unfortunately I don't think is the header that it should be. The A350 was tested and just continues to put out better numbers than the Anaconda, so we'll probably switch over to that. And then really focus on suspension and, like I said, lightening the car next year. So, you know, as I improve as a driver, I don't need a ton of power. You know, like I said, this is for me to go out and have fun. I'm not trying to, you know, set lap time records or anything like that. It's just a fun car for me. And now that we have the S2000, the opportunity is there for the BRZ to be torn down and reworked. So I mean, I'm on stock suspension now, so we'll probably move into tan SRCs or you know, some sort of double adjustable coilover, you know, external reservoir or something like that. And then I'm looking into either the WiseFab track kit or trying to get on board with Brypar out of Australia to do their full billet upright and geometry correction suspension. So yeah, we'll see how it kind of goes, but as far as like the built crazy NA, high revving, whatever, these FA20s just aren't handling it. The rocker arms are too weak. They can't really be improved due to head design. and there's just been too many failures. The most reliable motors are those that are mostly stock. But yeah, we focus on you know, suspension and stuff like that rather than a built motor. The next time you guys will see me on track will be at Laguna in June for the NorCal SoCal Joint 86 Cup 86 Drive Challenge Day at Laguna. And yeah, I don't like to record too much outside of, you know, the in-car video and stuff like that at track days, but yeah, I'll see you guys then. And like I said, like, subscribe, comment, share. We've got a Patreon page as well as Facebook, and I'll link all those down in the description. But yeah, it's great to get back to this and talk to you guys again. And remember, if you don't need it on track, 86 it.